Welcome back. This is Chapter 5 of SQL Server training series. In the past videos, we learned how to download and install SQL Server for free. Then we learned the difference between SQL Server and SQL Server Management Studio. We also learned different ways to connect to SQL Server using SSMS. In the previous video, we learned how to configure SSMS environment according to our requirements and preferences. In this video, we will learn how to create a database, how to rename the database, and how to delete a database. Let's start. First of all, we need to connect to our SQL Server. Then there are two ways we can create a database. Either in our Object Explorer window, these are our databases. If we click this plus sign, we already have system databases. And if we right click it and click new database, and then we can give it a name, we can call it test database, and then we can just click OK. And as you can see, it has already created our database. Another way to create the database is using the code. So click new query, and then we can type our code, create database, and then we can give it a name, test2. To execute that, either we can press F5 on our keyboard or we can click execute, and our database is created. To find the database, we right click this database, or we can refresh from there, or we can just highlight that and then we can click this refresh button. And now you can see this is our test database and this is our test2 database. If we don't like the name of our database, we can give it a meaningful name. For that, just right click the database, rename, and then we can type, get rid of this 2 at the end, and we can write a meaningful name and press enter. So as you can see, the name of the database has been changed. If we want to change it using the code, we can do that. For that, we need to type alter database, and the name of our database was test meaningful name, and then we type modify name equal to, and then we give a different name which we want to use, so we can call it real database. So that was not a test database. To execute, either we can press F5 on our keyboard or we can execute that, and it has been renamed. To test that, click the databases and press the refresh button. So as you can see, that it has renamed our database. There is another way of renaming the database using the code, is through executing a system stored procedure, and that is sp underscore rename db. Then we need to provide the name of our database. That was real database, and then we need to type a comma, and then we can call it first database. So we can simply highlight this code. If we don't highlight this code and if we click execute, then it might throw an error, because we have already run this top part of the code, first line of the code, and we are not running this code anymore. We are only executing this part of the code. So with that, we need to highlight this and click execute. As you can see, the name has been changed. How to test that? Click database and refresh it. And now we have changed from real database to first database, and it is listed here. So this is how we can rename our database. After that, if you're not happy with this database at all and you want to get rid of that, you can do so. Let's delete this code. There are two ways of doing it. Click the name of the database, right click, click delete, and click OK. As you can see, the database has been deleted. To double check that, click databases, refresh, and it's not there anymore. There is another way to delete a database is using the code. You can type the code drop database. Then either you can type the name of the database or you can simply drag and drop. When we will execute this code, it will delete our database. But I want to show you another thing. Just quickly click new query and type use. Either type the name of the database or drag and drop there. Execute that, and command completed successfully. This code is trying to access this database. So if we go back and now highlight that code and execute that, as you can see, it is taking a bit longer to execute. The reason behind that is because in a different window, this database is being used, right? So as you can see on your screen, it says cannot drop the database because it is currently in use. Why it happens? Because the database resides on the SQL Server, which is in a central location. There are more than one developers might be accessing that database at the same time. So because the database is being modified in real time, SQL Server will not allow deletion of this database if it is being used by another user. So for that, either that user has to stop the connection to that database, or you can do so by typing this code. And how you can do that is alter database, then the name of the database is test database, set single user with rollback immediate. So what happens is, so the best practice is you need to inform all the developers that you are going to delete this database in case someone is doing some important piece of work on that database. So after everyone knows like you are going to delete it, then you need to type this code, execute that, and now what this code is doing, it is terminating all the connections, and now you can highlight the code and click execute. And as you can see, the database has been deleted. If you click the databases, click refresh, that database has been deleted. So this is how we can delete the database. After that, we have deleted our databases after the creation. What we can do is now we can create a new database for our use, which we will be using for our future chapters. So we can call it clinical system underscore 2024. Simply execute that and our database is created. Click the database name and refresh it. Thanks for watching this video. That's all for now. In the next video, we will learn how to create our tables, how to make changes to tables, and how to delete unwanted tables. See you in the next video.